23rd, March 25th, and April 7th.
Okay. I couldn't.
But April 7th is not on this agenda, so
I made a mistake.
it's okay.
We're good.
All right.
April 8th?
7th.
Is that?
I sent them on the 8th, but yeah. But I don't think this is probably the time to be reviewing them.
Okay. All right. Deb, we ready to?
Ready.
Roll.
Everything's good now. Sorry for the
Okay.
technical oops.
Here we go. Corporation of Harpers Ferry Budget and Finance Committee regular meeting today, April 27th, Tuesday at 4:07 p.m. In attendance of the committee is Deb Kelly, our bookkeeper, Nancy Case, and Jay Premack, and myself, Christian Petrikonis, members of the Harpers Ferry Town Council. And we will have a guest, Pat Morse, who will talk later about the postal service issue with rent agreement. Okay, until further notice, the Corporation of Harpers Ferry governing and deliberative bodies will hold its meetings and or hearings virtually via Zoom webinar, which provides for public participation during a public comment period when applicable and when posted on the agenda. I don't think we did that. Alternately, the public may watch by YouTube video live stream or listen by phone. These options comply with the West Virginia Open Governmental Meetings Act. If you want to participate in the town meeting, you can go on the Harpers Ferry website for meetings and events calendar, or you can visit virtual meetings at for virtual meetings and hearings. I'll call the meeting to order. We're all here. So how about the agenda, approval of the agenda?
I would like for us to do a couple things. One is that we'd move item 4 to the number 2 position.
Yep.
And that we actually carry the approval of the minutes, and even though it's not in accordance with Robert's rules, that we approve them at the next special meeting, unless the next regular meeting occurs before any special meetings.
I will motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, I forgot the discussion. Sorry, guys.
Discussion's
I
over.
practiced. Okay.
Okay, so that makes the first item the post office lease renewal subject matter.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's discuss that. Discussion and action regarding that lease agreement with the post office. And so is Patty here? Seeing that she's a guest for this?
Yes.
Okay, let's
Here's
hear
Pat.
where we're at. I have read through the lease myself, so I'm ready for that.
So Debbie, am I in the meeting? I can't tell.
Yes, you are.
Okay, great.
We can hear you.
Okay. So basically what I can let you know is that the post office lease expires on August 31st of this year. Every time you go down to the post office, you'll hear them say, we need more space. And they were very excited when the liquor store left. They were hoping that they might snag that, but that's the wishes of the local people and not the people that actually negotiate the lease. So I have had several conversations with, I'll call it headquarters. And they did come out and do a site visit. I was supposed to meet with them, but the person never showed up. Then they came the next day when I was off. They had a CAD system. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. That's a tool that they use to map out their space. And they did that and they will get back to us. So that's all I have right now.
All right. Now, have we heard from the postmaster? Or is this just the employees about
No.
the additional space?
the employees are very vocal about needing space, and unfortunately, they'll tell anybody that walks in there that they're out of space, which created some, gossip in town. But no, I've been talking with somebody from the main post office in Pennsylvania, and we have a contact in DC, although she will not give me that person's name. So I'm just going through her. And she says, unfortunately, in our last conversation, unfortunately, the wheels move slowly. So just be patient and they will get back to us.
What is it that they're getting back to us about?
Whether or not they want to stay in the space, whether it's large enough for them. I'll start with that. I mean, I don't know if they're going to come back to us and say they need some improvement work done in the back that they're going to ask the landlord to do. I really don't know. So basically, I'm looking for them to come back to say, A, the space is adequate and we'd like to continue at X rate, or B, the space is not large enough. What can you do for us?
By the way, I looked at a lot of the post offices in the region. By far, this is the largest post office. I mean, when you look at Bakerton and Halltown and Shenandoah Junction, Brunswick, those are the closest. Knoxville, and we're a pretty good size office.
We're
We are
covering-
a pretty good size, Christian. The problem that I've heard, and again, this is from the employees, that they get a lot of deliveries. And of course, as we know, this past holiday was a little crazy with everybody ordering online, and they just did not have enough space to accommodate all the incoming mail and to disperse it in a timely fashion. But again, that was during COVID. Will that change? I don't know. So that's things that they're going to have to evaluate on their end.
I have a number of questions, Patty. First of all, I believe the local postmaster is Wendy, correct?
No, I don't think it's Wendy.
Okay, who is it?
I don't know her name, but Wendy's the lady that works at the counter.
Oh, really?
I believe so. And Wendy signed off on the HVAC repairs that I've had to talk to them about and say, no, you can't sign off on those. It
All
has
right.
to come upstairs.
I believe Wendy is the boss at the postmaster at this location. Richard, Donna, the other dark hair lady, they all report to Wendy, I believe.
Okay.
What's the name of the person that you say is responsible for negotiating the lease?
Well, I've been talking to somebody by the name of Lacera Bechtel, and she's in Pennsylvania.
Can you spell it?
LARISSA BACHTELL. And she has been in contact with the Postmaster General in DC. I've asked her several times if I could please have that name and number. She will not give it to us.
No.
And I said, here's my email address. Feel free to email. So I haven't heard. So, government leases are notoriously low ball in terms of price per square foot. And the wheels turn slowly. So they may wait till August 1st to say, we need to renegotiate our lease.
Okay, I'm not asking questions.
Yeah, no, and the worst we can do is stay month to month until everybody figures out what they want to do.
Okay, again, I'm not done asking questions.
Okay.
Well, I can appreciate that the employees have comments and they have desires. The employees have virtually nothing to do with the decision-making. In your conversations with Larissa Bechtel, did anyone besides the employees give you any indication that the space was too small, they were looking for more space? I'm interested to know what Larissa Bechtel has conveyed.
She has conveyed that the Postmaster General from DC would be coming out, taking a look at the space and making a determination of where they wanted to go.
Okay, but she didn't indicate anything about needing more space or wanting more space. She just said that the Postmaster General was going to come out, and that person never showed up?
No, they showed up, but they showed up a day later than was planned.
Uh-huh.
So unfortunately, I wasn't there to be able to speak to them in person.
Okay. And when they came out, was that the person that had the CAD system and,
Yes,
okay. So again, I'll ask one more time. As far as you know, neither Larissa Bechtel or the Postmaster General have made any indication whatsoever that the space is too small, that they need more for packages. All of that's just come from the employees.
that is correct.
Okay, good to
I feel
know.
like we're throwing around a name or title that's not accurate. Postmaster General is Louis DeJoy, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, that's the Postmaster General of the United States in
So-
DC.
Well, she referred to it as the Postmaster General, so.
And that's the Postmaster General in the United States. But there's, perhaps Wendy's title isn't Postmaster, but she's the head postal clerk or post person in Harpers Ferry. But
Well, the
yes,
way I
I would be
did it, it looks
stunned.
like this thing- Oh, okay.
I would be stunned. First of all, a lifetime ago, I worked for the United States Senate Rules Committee. The Rules Committee is the only committee that has jurisdiction over the US Postal Service. I would be stunned if the Postmaster General trotted on out here with a CAD system to look at the Harpers Ferry Post Office.
Okay, you know
So I
what,
would like
Nancy?
to know who it was.
You know what, Nancy? I think we're getting in the weeds here. All I can tell you is a representative from DC came out. I was told it was the Postmaster General. Maybe she misspoke, but we're just kind of in the weeds. We know the lease is going to expire. And, you know, I reached out. I would like to reach out and say, what do you want to do? But apparently they will get in touch with us. So that's where we are.
As a
Um,
negotiation, this is a negotiation, I believe. So the ball's in their court. We can't do anything, and I don't think we should be pushing on a string. It's pushing on a string right now. They have to determine whether they want to stay here, and if they do, what kind of space requirements are needed. And we can't do anything. At least we needed to be knowledgeable of the topic, but it appears that the next town council will be dealing with this.
I think you're right, Christian. I think the ball is in their court for them to come back and tell us whether or not they're interested in retaining the space.
Offhand, do you guys remember the date that this started, this lease? It was September 1, 2015?
Well,
That's
that
16.
was, I think that was the, hang on, I
Thanks.
think it goes back even further.
I think it's a 5-year term.
Yeah.
It is
The
a 5-year term.
the original lease looks like,
It was executed in October 29th, 2015.
well, the
20
original goes back to 1980.
Right, but the last
Oh.
term was 5 years. It
Correct.
expires last day of August in 21. So I think it was, Kristen, are you sure it was executed in 2015 or 2016?
Yeah, 2615, it says, I'm reading it right
Okay.
off the, but you know, it's weird. It was accepted by the Postal Service on March 28, 2016.
Well, that precedes Wendy Starliper. Forgive me if I mispronounce her name, and she's listed on the Postal Service site as the postmaster for our zip
Mm.
code.
For
Just-
Harpers Ferry.
Right. So she's the person that we should be talking to and finding out what's going on. And I don't know if our lease has any, I didn't read the details. I didn't have time today to look through it, but if there are any provisions in there for what happens when the lease expires, if the option is to continue month to month at our discretion, or what happens. I think we need to basically plan for that and then address whatever they come to us with. when they
Page 2, Jay, on section 4, it says renewal option. Effective date would be 9/1/2021. Good for 5 years, and the new premium will be 28,291, which is,
So that sounds like it was already negotiated. They just have to pull the trigger
Yeah.
and say, yeah, we want to stay.
but that is too low, in my opinion.
Well, I think we probably shouldn't be discussing,
I know, but I'm just giving you an opinion.
but I think that we need to confirm what happens if we arrive at the end of that period.
Right now, Patty is the one who's been talking to a representative from the Postmaster General's office and this Larissa Bechtel. What do we want to have happen in the event that one of these people call back?
We need information. That's all we need is what they want to do and what they see the process as. But I also feel like our town needs to know where we stand in terms of if they do not renew their lease by the date that's, in there, what the plan is in terms of month to month, if that's allowable, how long that's allowable for, communicate to them so they know kind of where the town stands, which is we'd like
Are
to.
you comfortable with Patty handling those conversations?
I feel like this is probably something that the committee should likely take on since it's financial in nature and deals with rents and whatnot. I mean, that's our oversight.
Well, you can see that the current lease was signed by Greg Vaughn, the mayor. So
Mhm.
obviously nothing would be signed without a blessing. This lease is also prepared by the post office. It's not a lease that the town created. Government leases, in my experience, are typically, they lowball you. And there's often a clause, which I have not read through this, is, what does happen at the end? When you go month to month? Sometimes in a commercial lease, you go month to month at 1.5 times the rate. I don't see that in here. So
Yeah.
I think we have some time on our hands. I am personally not trying to take this over. Just kind of being a conduit for when they do call to gather some information so I can then pass it on to the appropriate party.
Okay. First of all, with all due respect, Patty, please don't ever tell me that I'm going into the weeds. As a town council member, I'll ask as many questions as I feel I need to have answers to get to the bottom of something.
Okay, point
The only
taken,
thing
Nancy.
let me finish. The only thing I would ask is that I heard a lot of information from you that you were getting from post office staff, local staff. I would hope that when you're talking with Larissa or a representative from the Postmaster General's office, that you would not relay those conversations that you've had with the staff about us expanding, because we don't know. The town council does not know whether or not we're willing to expand to the postal service. We might, we don't know. But
Okay.
I guess I wouldn't want to lead them to believe that we're willing to do that at this point.
Nancy, I can assure you that I have never told them that the space was available for them. When the liquor store was leaving, they asked about it, and I said, if you guys are interested in it, contact the town hall. I have
Right.
not repeated conversations. Every time you go in and get the mail, they'll say something, and other people are listening. I have not repeated this. I just said, contact the town hall. So I just wanted to assure you that I'm not out there saying what we're going to do for the post office or that we're going to do anything for the post office.
Well, like I said, I became very concerned when George Owen starts flying around town telling people.
Well, that's George Owens, Nancy. That's not me. Sorry.
Where does he get it? Where does it come from?
He probably
Now
was
I'm going
in
into
the
the weeds.
post office. He could have been in the post office. I don't know. I did not tell George Owens anything
All
about
right.
the post office.
You understand my concern. That's all I'm saying, is that I would hope that you would get information from them and bring it back to town council.
Yes, and I hope you would understand that I am a professional and I do my job in a professional manner. So I'm not out on the street saying anything about any lease or anything from the town hall.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
To keep things, I think, everyone connected. Pat, can you please CC the Budget and Finance Committee on the messages or emails with either Wendy or Larissa or anyone else, just so that we're in the loop, not to comment because we don't want to have a conversation, but just to be able to have eyes on the communications would help us.
Sure. And again, Jay, they're very limited. I actually have called Larissa a couple times just to ask if there was an update, and there's been no update. So I'm leaving sleeping dogs lie until they come
Let
to
it
the
lie.
town and say, what their thoughts are.
That's if it's not email, if there's just a call, just give us, if there's no update, just say there's no update. I just reached out to her. That would be really helpful just for us to know what you know, and you don't have to worry about keeping a memo or whatever it is. We'll be in the loop.
Okay.
So is there anything else that we need to discuss at this point?
I don't think so. We can't do anything. We can't do anything. And I don't even think we should be proactively doing anything with the post office till we hear.
I generally agree, but I do think it's important that the town know what happens at the day the lease is over. So there's a plan of action, and communicate that proactively to the postal service saying, this is our expectation. We'd really like to know this as soon as possible ahead of your termination date or end of your current lease term. And our expectation is after this date, this is what happens. I really don't know. And this is, if it becomes complicated, then we get our legal counsel to make sure that we understand our rights as a landlord. And if there are any issues with, specifically with working with the government, if there's provisions, because the United States Code is supersedes state code, I would assume. And so there may be some very simple answers to this stuff. But do we address this at our next meeting with more information about what we need to do proactively to draft a letter?
A letter to whom? Town council? Or the
Probably,
postal service?
no, I think it would probably be a letter to the local postmaster. It's just that the chain of command is complicated to me. It's not surprising. Many of the government institutions are antiquated, not by their own desire, but just the way it is. A lot of things haven't advanced. So
It's probably like our superintendent for National Park. He has to go to the region for things. It's just like this post office has to go to the next level. They don't have any authority. I mean, we can send them a letter, but
Well.
we're willing to listen to them.
all right, well, at least we've got as much information as we can for now.
Yeah,
Okay,
hopefully I'll be around next time. Next term to deal with it.
So we're on to number 2.
Yeah, let's go to number 2. Discussion action regarding the fiscal year 2021 annual distribution. Is that right? Is that number 2?
Yes.
Yeah, and disbursement. Yep.
To the disbursement to the Eastern Panhandle Transit Authority.
Yeah, I just missed picking this one up when we did that set last time, which was to the fire department and the library. This is our annual funding that we give to the Eastern Panhandle Transit Authority, and it's in our budget for the amount of $2,000, and just looking for the authorization to disperse, which will then go to council if you recommend.
I forgot where you put that. Hang on. Does anybody want to make a motion?
Sure, I'll go ahead and make the motion based on the language that Deb provided in the agenda request, number 2. I move to recommend that the Harpers Ferry Town Council
Oh, sorry. Ian.
approve the FY 2021 annual disbursement of funds to the Eastern Panhandle Transit Authority in the amount of $2,000 from line item, or line rather, 2759, public transportation.
The line is 759.
Yeah, 759. If I didn't say that, that's what I was thinking.
I'll second it. Discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay. All right. Discussion action, item 3. Discussion action regarding credit card processing for B&O and room occupancy back taxes through the government.gov.card.
So by way of a bill, I found out this month that on one of our accounts, I found that we hold for room occupancy, B&O, and we also hold for water escrow and for sewer escrow that we do credit card processing on. That now that processing company is going to start charging $50 a month for any of the accounts that anyone holds that do not process at least $1,500 a month. And that seems to me to be cost prohibitive. And I asked what was going on and why we didn't know, and, there's just really it's beyond their control. They didn't get any warning, and it applies to all of our accounts, and there's really no way around it. And I kind of complained because, this was all, we were approached because we were a municipality and this would be all, no fees applied, but apparently that has changed. And so what that does, if we just remove ourselves from that and cancel our accounts, we would get credit for the billing that they have made to us in this month. And then we do now have the ACH option. If anyone's on a deferred payment plan with the B&O and room occupancy back taxes, we can utilize that. And then I'll just search for another credit card option. What we were trying to do, what we were hoping to do going forward was utilize these accounts for people to be able to pay their regular taxes, but that loops into making our website secure. It's a bigger project than just saying go. And so, we could always circle back to these people later once we get the website taken care of, but we're kind of at a can't have chicken without the egg thing.
I have a question in regarding the I understand the fee of $50. That's a high fee, by the way, but are we processing enough money to make it worthwhile to possibly doing that fee so we get this money for the town?
We're not, because we're not in all cases, either the escrow or these, because these are on cases where somebody's, behind and needs to make a payment plan to get caught up. And so that comes and goes. And with the ACH option, if they're willing to accept that from, accept that payment from their bank account and not a credit card or debit card, then they would have no fee associated at all. And that seems to be a little more favorable to folks. So it is, with this case, it's not a consistent thing, consistent enough to generate that much money. We don't have that many people in trouble, thankfully. And also with the escrow for the water department, it's still not, even though we may get 10 to 13 new customers a month, that's not $1,500. So yeah, we're still kind of small potatoes there.
Yeah, I get it.
So I wanted to let you know, and then just see if you had any other ideas, but if you don't, it seems to me we should just cease with that, and then I'll look for some other option. But in the meantime, we do have an option for people, which is the ACH payment.
Okay. All right.
Am I missing anything? Anybody?
I trust that you're trying to make the right decision. I don't see any reason not to follow through with what you're asking.
Do we need the motion, or do we just stop?
You could make a motion to discontinue our accounts for those items.
Does this require the count? We're not looking to spend more money, so I don't know that this really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Let's stop.
I don't think we need to vote to do this. It's the right thing to do. Just execute it.
I'm on it. Yep. I just put it on there in case you needed it for that for the recommended motion. I didn't really know what you wanted to do there. Okay. All right.
Unless, didn't the town council already approve this?
They did approve utilizing it, which would be setting up the account. And they also approved the ACH initiation. So I think we're okay there. We're just,
it just won't use
adjusting to reality. And once if we discover something else, then that will go to council. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll move off that one. We do have an option, a viable option. Okay. So we did the lease agreement. Okay. Post office. Okay. The next one is 5, discussion of the Washington Street sidewalk restoration project. And I wanted to keep you all in the loop. So this is strictly discussion. I've been involved in this since last summer, kind of on my own at first, and then later on through the parking committee, and then later on through the planning commission. Now I'm on a special committee with George Owens for the sidewalk committee. So I wanted to keep you in the loop.
So that will be my first question. My first question, you just said that you're on a special committee with George Owens. It's called the Washington Street Sidewalk Restoration Project.
No, it isn't. I just called it
was
that.
Okay, all right. Because
It's-
my question was gonna be, what's the Washington Street Sidewalk Restoration Project? If it's a committee, it has to be appointed by town council. So I was gonna ask if town council formed a
It will-
committee.
Yeah,
And they didn't,
this was like
this is very casual.
this was a subcommittee, but we haven't really met. It's
But the
one of the
town, the
things.
town council in the last 2 years, I don't believe created a subcommittee to deal with sidewalks. I think that's Nancy's point.
No,
I don't
that's
recall.
true.
My point is this a valid committee?
Is it any?
Valid means it's been appointed by town council. If it hasn't been appointed by town council, you're meeting illegally, you're discussing illegally, and if you want to form an ad hoc committee to address this issue, I think it's a good issue. But I think you need to go through the proper channels as opposed to having side conversations about something. Now, I thought maybe the town council had done that before I got on. So I'm
No.
asking you, did the town council form an ad hoc committee?
Nope.
No? Okay.
But-
I think that you should bring this, if you're ready to have discussions about this, Christian, and you and George have made headway, I think that you should put this on the May agenda to form an ad hoc committee.
And
I
those
like
those meetings, official meetings would carry minutes.
Wait. And wait. Right now, it's just people having conversations and good ideas, and it all has to start somewhere. But if you've got enough momentum going with ideas here to start really, for example, I've been sending emails trying to sort of light a fire about recovery fund monies. We could be applying for some of those to make these kinds of repairs. And it's perfectly okay now, as Manchin said. So
Good.
I would
Mhm.
encourage you to get the formation of this
I'll get it.
committee before
I'll get
town
it going.
council.
I've done a
Yeah.
lot of this all on my own, so I'll get it up to speed with the council.
Great, good idea.
And what we're talking, it's exactly what you see there. It's just Washington Street, it's sidewalks only, and it's restoration. So, I did let you know, I did this myself for the AARP has a program. And I applied for it for the town of Harpers Ferry. I saw we've never applied for it before. So I applied, it's called the AARP Community Challenge. So I put in for that for $10,000. So that's been submitted. And they pick 2 communities in each state every year. It's not a lot of money, but they usually pick a big town and then a small town. And
I recommend that you also somehow put that on the May agenda for town council and
Sure.
provide some kind of a report to that effect.
good idea. Okay,
So
I
you were,
just
Oh,
wanted to
never mind.
discuss it. I've been working with some companies, a bunch of them, just to start getting some consulting with them, trying to get some ideas, because I don't know, I'm no expert on sidewalks. So if we had some maintenance department that really would do something, that's why I kind of took this on. So to get
Yeah.
ready.
I would put together a small report of what you've done and add that to your report to town council as information for forming an ad hoc committee to address it more formally.
Now, your idea of ad hoc committee, does that have to be town council members? Is it like the parking committee
No.
where it could be anybody?
No, usually it's at least one town council member or one commissioner committee member, and there can be outside residents oftentimes, but they all have to be appointed by town council.
Okay. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm good with this.
Yeah, you might find some other people willing to join you. I
would love it.
endeavor.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
want somebody to actually get involved and actually help me. So,
Yeah.
okay, so next item, there's no action. So next item is discussion action regarding the COVID-19 compensation to general fund employees, and this may require executive session.
So this just stems from the revision that was made to the fiscal 21 revision 3 for the general fund, where this compensation was added. And we reviewed, and I can, the total amount, including retirement contributions and payroll tax contribution and wage contribution, is about $12,600. I don't know if you want any more detail, and I don't know if we require
I remember it from last time. Yeah, 12.6.
exact
Yeah.
session, but I just put it on there in case you did.
Mhm.
And it usually, what happens in my recollection of these kinds of things is that once it's approved in the budget, then it's formally approved as an action at the council level. So I hope that's the correct path, but that's what I thought it was.
I thought we did something with this earlier. Am I?
Well, it became part of the revision,
of
but
the
we didn't
revision?
actually, and I believe that we discussed, when I made comment to the council about what was in the revision, I discussed it in a general fashion, but usually like a pay increase, let's say, that is brought to council as an, okay, yes, we're gonna do
I
it,
get it.
you know? So that's why I put it on here, so that it doesn't lag on, because things start to get really hectic as we approach the end of this year, the fiscal year, et cetera. I mean, if you want to time it differently, that doesn't matter to me. If you want to wait another month or so, but anyway, I'm quiet.
I'd rather get it approved. So we approve it today, then it will go in front of the town council to approve in May.
And I would just put it in the next payroll run.
Anybody else have any ideas?
We approved the FY 2022 budget or 2021 budget that included this, no? The revision?
Yes, revision
So
3
isn't that
included
by,
this.
like, default, we've approved it? We don't need to.
Well, my experience with something like this, there have been a few other times since I have been here where someone has been compensated monetarily, is that since that is outside the realm of normal payroll, that it is like a payroll increase, so to speak, or it's not normal payroll. And so therefore that specific action is usually, well, it has in all times that I have seen, approved by town council before I actually do it.
Okay.
That was my thinking here. I've seen this happen in the water department in a completely unrelated situation. I've seen it happen, I think maybe one other time since I've been here. But it's not normal payroll.
So,
And
Deb,
I would like to have a motion from council that says, yeah, you should have done that.
okay,
That's usually what I get.
so
Well,
I'll go ahead and make the motion here using this language, because I don't think there's anything that it'll do other than help reinforce that this is
Clarify.
COVID-19 compensation.
And if you want, I mean, I'm not gonna like have a spreadsheet that has it broken down for everybody, but you guys conceptually understand what it is. It's all general fund people who worked last year and are still here, and it's that rate. And I can have this to go into executive session if the council wants it, or I can just distribute this to you now or later so that you know exactly what we're looking at. But
I recall the numbers pretty clearly of what the totals were.
the total falls to about $12,600 roughly.
I remember that.
Still support this as when approving the budget. So unless anyone objects, I'll make a motion.
Go ahead.
I think you should go ahead.
All right.
Yep.
Objection. I move to recommend that the Harpers Ferry Town Council pay general fund employees a one-time wage compensation of 3% for calendar year 2020 wages as COVID-19 compensation.
I'll second it.
All right,
More
so
discussion?
Just want to clarify, all we're doing is making a recommendation that town council do this. Yeah.
Exactly right.
And I'll be
Fine.
prepared in that meeting if you want to go to exec session with the numbers and everything, so you can
Okay.
explain if you'd like. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
You probably should plan on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good thinking, Deb, just to be clear on it, to separate those payments, because you're right.
Is there anything else that we need to discuss? I think we've reached the end of the agenda.
I
Yeah, we're
have
done.
one other administrative thing, but if we could just hang for a minute after the regular meeting is over. This is just an administrative awareness thing, if you don't mind.
If we have nothing further, then I motion to adjourn.
Second it. Okay. Go ahead, Jay. Second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.